Okay, sorry, had to set up. So what is it? Wait a minute. Can you guys hear me on your Zoom?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. Wait a minute. This is, what do you want to do? Wait a minute.
We hear you.
Okay. There's a sister here. Oh, okay. You want me to, she wants to take a screenshot so she can advertise me? Okay, hold on. You want me to put my name there too? Okay, this is what sister wants to take a screenshot of me, guys. She's trying to advertise my YouTube channel. Wait a minute, hold on. Okay, let me put my name up here too, just to make it professional. Wait a minute, where? Oh, do you want my name or do you want this class in particular? Okay, all right, hold on. All right. Okay, Mukhtar's class is on Wednesday. So you want one for Mukhtar too? Okay, that's on Wednesday. Okay, let me. All right, she wants my director thing. Hold on, I think I got one here. Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, hold on. This one. That's what you want? Okay, hold on. Let me fix myself up. You know, you got to be on TV. Got to look nice on TV. Y'all know I'm gonna do my buffalo stance. I don't smile. No, just take it because I don't do smiles. Ain't nothing to smile about when you're a female dyer. You got to be rough and tough. Thank you. Don't you dare take me smiling. Okay, one more. Okay, hold on. I'll do this. I'll do the Tyra Banks. You know, what's it called again, Fresno? What did we learn from Tyra Banks on America's Next Top Model? What you do with your eyes? Better than schmize. I'll do a schmize. Okay. Y'all like that? That's called the schmize. That's what a Muslim woman can do. Buffalo stance or schmize. That's when you smile with your eye. One more? Okay, here's one more. Got it? Okay. You like that? That's a schmize. Don't move your lips. Just let the eyes do it. Y'all see how I'm smiling with my eyes? There you go. It's a schmize. Got to watch America's Next Top Model. All right, y'all ready? Okay, so Mukhtar's on Wednesday. So you're going to do one for him too? All right. Yeah, we got some people trying to advertise our website. Now, alhamdulillah. And by the way, guys, please like and share. Oh, okay. And I'm getting ready to do that. I'm getting ready to share. Okay, she said I didn't share with the polygamy group. Lord have a mercy, sisters. Hold on. And y'all don't have me no polygamy questions today. I ain't in the mood for polygamy questions. Hold on. Save y'all polygamy questions for Sunday, Saturday, whatever day that the Q&A is. Friday. Here I come. Muslims of the Caribbean. Here y'all go. You want me to schmize too? Oh, Lord, have a mercy. Okay, one more. I'll do a schmize for this person too. And y'all will be putting up these out to get people to join, right? Okay, there's, yeah. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me, yeah. Wait a minute. Y'all know everything has to be color coordinated. Wait a minute. Let's change the color. It's got to be color coordinated. You know, Allah loves beauty. There. Is that better? There. See, I color coordinated it. Okay, you ready? Let me know, brother. I trust you. That's the only reason why I'm doing this for you. Okay, so you're going to, Okay, he said he's making a Facebook page. Okay. Let me schmize. Here I go. Okay, there you go. All right. So what's the group going to be called? We already have a Sunnah Followers group on Facebook. Okay, that's cool. Well, that's cool. All right, so let's get started here. I think everybody's here. My Zoomers are here. My students in Zoom.
Yeah, we here.
Okay, good. All right, and make sure y'all keep y'all eye, YouTube, the Christians are out.
We got them.
Okay, yeah, I'm about to tell you, these Christians, boy, they crazy, man. I had some Christian comment on one of my videos today. She said, lady, you need the Lord. One of those Christians, they put on my YouTube video from earlier, lady, you need the Lord in your life. She said, only Jesus can help you. She said, only Jesus can help you. Okay, I need the Lord. All right. Inna alhamdulillah wa salat wa salamallah wa rasulallah. Welcome to our series on the heroines of Islam. The heroines of Islam. And alhamdulillah, this is one of our most provocative series, because not only am I giving you the stories of some of the female companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but I am also trying to take their life and see how you can apply their struggles and to your own life and your own struggles. And I'm hoping to also tear down the myths that exist about women in Islam. We're living in the most terrible times. We're living in the days of fitan that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us of, the days in which Islam will become strange. That's why he said good news to the true strangers. Because the people of the Sunnah, we're looked upon as being strange. We're looked upon as being false, when in reality, we're bringing the truth. And by the way, that's how it's going to be. One of the kids here asked me about the Antichrist. The Antichrist, let me explain that for a second to the little kids here. When the Antichrist comes, he's not going to come as a prophet. He's not going to come pretending to be a prophet. No. When the Antichrist comes, he's going to make the people believe that he is Allah, not the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's going to announce to the world that he is Allah himself. And he will come with two things in his hands, two rivers. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever lives to see that, what he offers to be good is really evil. And what he offers to be evil is really good. So choose the opposite. But unfortunately, he will have the whole world, most of the world, believing that he is Allah himself. That's how scary that will be. You want to know the people that the Prophet said that won't fall for that? Those people in Jerusalem, those Gazans. Again, everything is the Gazans. Those, and in fact, the hadith says 75,000. There will be 75,000 people in Jerusalem, those Gazans, who will be holding firm to the Mahdi, holding firm with him, trying to hold it down against that Antichrist. It will be those 75,000 from Gaza that will go to fight him. And they will be fighting him when Jesus appears. So like I say, when you learn the hadiths, you learn there's nothing to feel sorry for. No one has no business feeling sorry for anybody over there in Gaza. Y'all better feel sorry for yourself. Hello. So I'm teaching you the stories of the heroines of Islam to try to clear up a lot of misconceptions that the women of today have, because as Muslims, we have a very high apostasy rate of women. Because one of the ways in which Islam has become strange is the fact that women are being stripped every day of the rights that Allah has given them. Too many women think that they're supposed to be invisible. And I'm showing you that these women were not invisible, that nowhere did Allah or the Prophet command the believing women to be invisible. These women were right there paving the way for of Islam for us. They were not invisible. Their names are mentioned in the authentic hadiths. Their names are mentioned in the historic logs of Islam. They're not forgotten. They're not invisible. And this is a misconception of 2024. This is how horrific we deviated away from Islam in its truthfulness, with the understanding of those companions. Because if you think that women are supposed to be invisible, you're nothing like the companions. Because women were of the companions. They had a voice. They used it. Okay? They were active on the battlefield. And they also knew their role as a woman. As the prophet said, the best mothers, the best home arrangers, and warriors to the bone. We got to learn these hadiths. Learning the hadiths is learning the history of Islam. Learning hadiths is learning what your role is as a woman, as a man, as a Muslim in general. So tonight, what I'm going to do, I'm doing the story of a woman that many of you have never heard about, because I'm getting a lot of text messages about it. I'm going to do the story of a woman who was the sister, one of the Prophet Muhammad's sisters. And like I told you, a lot of Muslims didn't know that he had stepchildren. Zainab bint Abu Salama was his stepsister. Was his stepdaughter, who he raised, and she became one of the first scholars of Islam. Her only rival was Aisha. She was second to Aisha in her knowledge, her understanding of this religion. She was a scholar of fiqh, a scholar of the Quran. Okay? He had stepchildren. And also, he had step brothers and sisters. As you guys remember, when we did the story of Salama, who was the mother of Zainab bint Abu Salama, her father, Salama's husband, Abu Salama, who was killed during the Battle of Badr, he was one of the brothers of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were foster brothers. They were suckled by Thamima, who was suckled him before Halima. A lot of people don't know about her either. And also Hamza, radiallahu anha. Hamza was not just the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's uncle, but he was also the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's brother, foster brother too. And not just Hamza. Abu Sufyan. How many of you knew that? Abu Sufyan. Abu Sufyan was also was also a foster brother, a brother of the Prophet Muhammad, because they were all nursed by Thamima. okay, who nursed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was first born before Halima did. Back in those days, and from what I understand, it's still practiced today among some of the Arabs whose roots go all the way to the Bedouins. A lot of Arabic women back then, they wouldn't nurse their children. They would send the children to a wet nurse out in the desert so they could learn the language, the original Arabic language, which the Fusha or whatever. And some Arabs still do that today. They also go every summer. They take the kids to the desert, to the Bedouins, so they can learn their culture and learn their language and all of that. So, you know, a lot of people don't know that. Well, today, not only did the Prophet have foster brothers, but he had a foster sister. And I'm going to do her story now. So let me do this. I'm going to take down, because I know a lot of you like to make PowerPoints. I'm going to set everything down so you can PowerPoint the slides. I like using my PowerPoint slides, and so do you guys, evidently. Hold on, make my screen large. Okay, for my students in Zoom, let me know if y'all can see. I'm going to, again, connect you all to LinkedIn. That way I can keep my eye on stuff there. Okay, inshallah. This is LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is lag like crazy. Is that LinkedIn? Wow, look at that. See the lag? This is what you call lag, guys. Y'all see that? But that's how LinkedIn look. Let me connect you guys to something else besides LinkedIn, because you're way behind me. LinkedIn is like 5 or 10 minutes behind me. Let me instead connect you to YouTube. YouTube is lag, but not like that. Oh. All right, y'all ready? Okay, let's go to YouTube. And so this is YouTube. Okay. There you are. And let me know if y'all can see it, Amina, in Zoom, because what I'm getting ready to do now is take the people here to my PowerPoint. So let me know if y'all can see that. Shayma. Okay. And remember, guys, make sure that you take the screenshots and print everything out on from your phone and clip it all together so you will have it like a book. There's the PowerPoint. I'm going full.
See it?
Y'all see it? Okay, good. I'm going full screen with it. And I'm going to make it even fuller, inshallah. Y'all ready? Woo. Wow, that's weird. Okay, everybody see. Okay, so and let me explain what a foster sister is, because a couple of the new shahadas are asking me, what is a foster sister? A foster sister is anyone is the sister of a woman that suckled you. In Islam, any woman who suckles you when you are a baby, you are beneath the age of 2 years old, that woman becomes your mother, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the milk is the same as the blood, and the blood is the same as the sperm. Okay, that's an authentic hadith. So if, say for example, I suckled Famay becomes my daughter. And that means my daughter becomes her sister. They're now sisters. My sons become her brothers. So they cannot marry. They're all related by blood milk, which is like the blood. So that's what a foster sister is. This was the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's sister through nursing. And that means you can never marry him. She could never marry him because he's a mahram, he's her brother. It would be incestuous. Y'all understand that? So that's what a foster sister is. And Shayma was one of a few foster sisters that he had. And let's talk about it. And why did I use an old woman here? The reason why I used an old woman here, I'm not trying to duplicate any of the companions because nobody can duplicate them because you don't know how they look. I'm not even using the same race. This is not even an Arabic woman. This is a woman from Japan. But the reason why I'm using this old picture because that's how old Shayma was when she came upon the prophet. She was in her 60s. Okay? So keep the word old woman in your mind for later. Okay? So my story of Shayma begins with a poem. When the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a young boy, he was given to Halima to be nursed. She was the wet nurse. And Halima had children, and she was married. And one of her children, her oldest daughter, used to play with the prophet. They all fell in love with him because he was a beautiful baby. And they sensed that something was different about him because when their mother took him in to nurse, life changed. So Shayma fell in love with this little beautiful bundle of joy. She used to hold him, change his diaper, play with him to help her mother out. And she would sing to him. She would say, "Oh, our Lord, keep Muhammad alive for us so that I may see him become a teenager and then a leader. Suppress his enemies and those who are jealous of him and give him an everlasting glory." This was a song that she made up, that she would hold him and kiss him and play with him and sing to him. Okay? Shayma and her family lived in the desert and had taken on the responsibility of caring for this special child. Shayma, being the oldest girl, she would help her mother in performing the household duties. And she helped care for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this was long before And how old is Shayma? Well, she was about 5 years old around the time that her mother took in the prophet. So she was around 5 years old, 5 years older than the prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? But she was old enough to notice that when they took in this child, life changed. Whereas the life was hard for them. Whereas the camels wouldn't produce milk. The goat wouldn't produce milk. When the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was entrusted to her mother, the camels began to make a lot of milk. The goats made a lot of milk and cheese. They were able to make cheese. So life changed. And that's why Halima, even after the Prophet was old enough to go back to his real parents, remember, you guys remember the story, she asked to keep him longer. And that's a different story. But Shayma was the oldest daughter. And Shayma was the nickname of this wonderful woman. Her real name, was Had Dhaka. That was her real name. but they called her Shayma. And that's the same name of my sister-in-law. I find it so, every time I do this story, I think of my sister-in-law, the one that's Palestinian. Her name is Shayma too. SubhanAllah. Now, Ibn Ishaq tells us that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had 4 other foster siblings from Shayma's family. She had a brother named Abdullah, another sister named Anaya, okay? And then there was her, who was known by Shayma. And for the 4 years that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stayed in her home, her family's life took on a big transformation, okay? But this is the question that a lot of us ask, including me. In fact, I talked to Sheikh Morsi today to ask this question too. There's a big question about the family of Halima that we don't hear about in the hadiths, in the history, as Sheikh Morsi said. But a lot of people ask, why didn't Halima and her family hasten to convert to Islam when the Prophet Muhammad received the call to prophethood? How many of you wondered that? You don't hear or read any hadith that speaks about Halima and her family accepting his call to Islam in the beginning of Islam. Not when he was in Mecca, not when he was even in Medina, even though they knew about his characteristics. Like I said, it's a question a lot of us ask. So, but I'm going to get to the answer of that. Inshallah, when I end my presentation, I'll try to answer that. But it's normal for us to think, why come there's no hadith about Halima coming to embrace Islam, or her children, or her husband, or any of that? So we'll talk about that. The reality is they did not, I repeat, they did not, I repeat, they did not embrace Islam until after the Battle of Hunain. And the Battle of Hunain took place in the 8th year after the migration. So this is a reality. Yes, Halima and her family, they did not embrace Islam until after the Battle of Hunain. And I'll talk about why that may be so. Okay? So let's get to it. When did the Battle of Hunain occur? Well, this was after the conquest of Mecca. After the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions conquested Mecca. That's when the Quraysh all converted to Islam. Abu Sufyan's family, Muawiyah, Hind, all of them, Ikrimah, everybody converted to Islam. And after that happened, there were a few stray tribes of Arabs. Remember, the Arabs were a warrior race. They were always into tribal war. Well, we had the tribe of the Hawazin, the tribe of Thaqif, the tribe of Bakr. They had refused to embrace Islam. But when they heard that the Quraysh did, those 3 tribes gathered together and planned to fight against the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They said, not only are we going to destroy him and his followers, but we will become the successors over the Quraysh because we deserve it anyway. So what they did was these 3 tribes, they brought together a contingent of over 30,000 men who came out with their weapons, women, and children. Remember, I told you, these were the Dark Ages, the medieval period. In the medieval period, this was the custom for everyone living on earth at that time. Whenever a town or a tribe was invaded, the women and children would come out to fight too. I told you guys that. Because whoever won, the women and children would become the spoils of war. They would become slaves and divided up amongst the victors. So this army of 30,000 men came out with their women, children, and animals in response to the demand of their leader, who was Malik ibn Auf. And my cousin Mukhtar talked about this, and he's going to be going over this again with you guys since he's redoing the life of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. These three tribes, they met at the valley of Hunain between Taif and Mecca, and that's where the battle took place. And Allah speaks about this battle in the Quran. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. Truly, Allah has given you victory on many battlefields. And on the day of Hunain, when you rejoiced at your big number, but it brought you nothing, and the earth, as large as it is, was straightened for you, then you turned away and ran. Then did Allah send down his forces, which you could not see, and he punished the unbelievers. Okay, so what Allah is speaking about is what happened here. What happened here was after the conquest of Mecca, for the first time, the Muslims had the largest army ever. And they finally had horses, camels, because the Quraysh were wealthy. So the Muslims, when they went to fight this battle, they boasted and bragged about how large they were. They were even saying, we will never be outnumbered after this day. And this was their mistake, because instead of them being pompous, they should have thanked Allah for the blessings he's given to them, and to teach them a lesson. In the beginning of the battle, Allah caused them to be defeated. And that's when Allah sent down those verses. He said, you were busy boasting and bragging. And this is what I want you guys to know. War, I tell you this, war comes from Allah, not from Israel, not from the Zionists. Today we have war. Allah sent it. Allah is in control, just like he sent this war. Allah says, I send war for several reasons. Number one, to cleanse the land of bad people. Number two, to test you, to see who amongst you are believers and who are hypocrites. Look what happened here. A lot of the people converted to Islam. A lot of the Quraysh, in fact, all of the Quraysh converted to Islam, but many of them were still hypocrites. Many of them were not sincere. Many of them converted to save their own lives. Okay? So Allah caused them to be defeated. Defeat comes from Allah, guys, and victory comes from him. I want all the young Muslims listening to me to understand that Allah is in control over Gaza. Victory comes from him. Defeat comes from him, not from the Zionists. And Allah does what he wants for his own reasons, because only he knows what his plans are. So, to teach these Muslims a lesson, Allah caused them to be defeated in the battle, and they were severely shaken. And many of them ran away from the battlefield. They actually ran away from the battlefield. The hero of that day who reclaimed the victory was one person. And that one person was the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we talked about that. This is when the victory came through him. And who vindicated himself on that day was Abu Sufyan. Because when the hypocrites ran away during this battle, the hypocrites ran away and they left the Prophet alone, sitting on top of a mule. One man stepped forward And he was striking the enemy left and right, left and right, left and right. And the prophet said, who is that man? And that's when his uncle, El Abbas, said, that's your brother. That's Abu Sufyan. And when the prophet said that, heard that, he said, is that my brother? Is that Abu Sufyan? And that's when the prophet said, I am the son of Abdul Muttalib. Abu Sufyan is from the tribe of Abu Muttalib. He's Abdul Muttalib. He said, fight, my brother, fight. And Abu Sufyan showed his best skills. He took them down. And then finally, the rest of the people came to join him. The other companions came and joined him on the battlefield. And that's a whole different story. This is when Abu Sufyan proved that he believed La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. That's the day after that battle. This battle was when the prophet kissed Abu Sufyan and told him, because Abu Sufyan lost his eye. Abu Sufyan was stuck in the eye with an arrow. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Abu Sufyan, he said, my Lord sent Jibril to tell me, if you want, he will replace your eye now, or he will hand your eye to you on a day of judgment. Abu Sufyan said, I'd rather have Allah hand it to me on the day of judgment. That hadith is authentic. It's in Sahih Bukhari. The whole story, this whole story of the Battle of Hunain is detailed in Bukhari and Muslim and Muwatta. And that's where I'm taking all these hadiths from. Okay? So that's how the Muslims got victory on this day, because of the prophet himself and Abu Sufyan. Okay? That's why I tell you guys, don't curse Abu Sufyan. Abu Sufyan converted to Islam and he became a warrior of Allah. He was forgiven of all his sins. He'll be of those 70,000 that enter paradise without being judged. Okay? So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was on a mule, not a horse. But when his men ran away, many of them were new converts. He remained steadfast. And it was Abu Sufyan that came out fighting, and then the other companions rallied around him after that. Okay? Now, after this battle, this is when something else occurred. Allah gave the Muslims victory. And as the Muslims were gathering up the spoils of war, again, the women who were there and the children, whenever there's a battle, the women are taken as right-hand possessions. The children too, okay, are taken. So there was an old woman in her 60s. She was taken prisoner. She told her captors, she said, release me. She said, I demand to see Muhammad. They laughed at her. They made fun of her. She said, I am his sister. I am Muhammad's sister. She said, take me to see him now. They grabbed her by her arm. They paraded her through the battlefield. And, they were kind of manhandling her, laughing. They said, this old woman, the prophet ain't got no sisters, this old woman. But they took her to the prophet's tent. And the prophet allowed her in. And she said, oh, messenger of Allah, do you not recognize me? She said, I took care of you when you were a child. She said, I fed you. I cleaned you. I held you. I rocked you. She said, I am your sister. The prophet looked up at her. He didn't recognize her. I mean, he was a little baby, a little 6-year-old, and she was old. You know, she was 5 years older than him. So he asked her, he said, can you prove to me that you are who you say you are? She said, yes, I can. She said, don't you know, Muhammad, I still bear the mark on my back that you gave to me when I was holding you on my hip and you bit me. When she said that, the prophet knew who she was, because he remembered the day that he bit her on the back when he was a baby. And they say the hadith in Bukhari is so wonderful. It's so long. It says that the Prophet ﷺ stood up and tears started running down his face. And he went to her, he grabbed her. They say he hugged her and he began to kiss her hands. And the men were shocked. And he said to them, this is my foster sister. Her mother nursed me when I was a baby, and they cared for me. And she started grinning. She said, I told you. And that's when Imam Bukhari says, she looked at the prophet and said, Muhammad, your men rough-handled me. She said, you need to teach your men to be more kind with their prisoners. And they dragged us through the battlefield. And that's when the prophet said, Bilal, did y'all drag them through the battlefield? He said, cover the dead bodies out there. He said, do not drag our prisoners through the battlefield. Let them remember they're dead at their best, not their worst. That's why I get so upset with you Muslims posting dead people on your Facebook pages. This is against Islam. And that's when the prophet told his men, be kind with our prisoners. Don't rough handle them. Subhanallah. And again, these hadiths can all be found in Bukhari, and all be found in Muslim, and all be found in Muwatta. But see, we don't read hadiths anymore. And even if we do read them, we don't understand them, because you can't teach yourself the deen. You have to have a scholar of hadith to understand, a scholar who knows the history, a scholar who understands the meaning. And again, this shows the character of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and how he dealt with people. As Allah tells us, there has come to you a messenger from amongst yourselves. It saddens him that you should be hurt. He's worried over you. And he's kind and merciful to the believers. So that's when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the men, do not rough handle the women or the prisoners of war. And don't drag the women and children through the battlefield to see their dead people. This is terrifying. Let the people remember they're fallen at their best. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam took Shayma outside the tent. And he spread his garment on the ground and had her sit next to him. This is all from the hadith. I didn't put the hadith here because it's too long, but I know it by heart. And that's when he asked her, how was her mother? How was her father? How was her family? And that's when she told him that they are all fine. And by the way, this is when Shayma converted to Islam. And also her mother, her father, and her sisters and brothers, they converted too. Okay? And that's when the prophet told her, if you want, you and your family, if you want, you can stay here with me, and I will love you, and I will honor you all because you are my family. He said, I will cater to you. if you will stay with me. And he wanted her, and he wanted her mother and father and them to stay with him because they were his family. He said, but if you don't want to stay, then I'll send you back to your people. Guess what her choice was? Her choice was not to stay. She said, thank you for your offer, my brother. She said, but I want to go back to my people. And this is what a lot of Muslims are wondering. Why did she choose that? Because she could have stayed with the prophet and been pampered and spoiled. But no, her and her mother, her father, her sisters and brothers, they all chose to go back. And the reason why is this. These were the dark ages. These were the medieval ages. Back then, tribalism was the governing factor in the lives of the Arabs, guys. They were a warrior race of people. They were a nomadic race of people. And you just don't change in one day. Shayma converted to Islam, and so did her family. But change comes with time. We change the condition of ourselves with time. And as faith grows in our heart, that's when we change. So even though she and her family were Muslim, they chose to go back to their people because that's where their mindset was. And so the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Shayma and her family back, and he sent with them many camels, many goats, many gifts, so that the tribe, would live with a lot of supplies and be happy. And we can see here how the Arabs had that wala wa bara. They had that allegiance. Before Islam, their allegiance was to their tribes. After Islam, their allegiance went to Allah, the Prophet, and the Muslims. But again, that took time. Okay, so even though Shayma chose to go back to her people, it was okay because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent her back and her tribe back with a lot of gifts, a lot of camels, a lot of food, a lot of clothing and things like that. And that's it. That's where her story began. And that's also where her story ends. There's nothing else mentioned in any of the hadiths about her after that or her family. And that's the story of Shayma. So I'm going to stop right here. Are there any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned this. What was the name of that battle that this occurred?
This is the Battle of Hunain.
How do you spell that, please?
There's several ways you can spell it. I spell it Hunayn. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, she accepted Islam, but she didn't accept until then. Her tribe, that's why she was out there. Her tribe were fighting against the Muslims. That's why she was out there. Like I said, back in those days, the women came out. If you were fighting against another tribe, you'd bring out your women and children because they are the casualties. The Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he had the Battle of the Trench, that was the first time that someone put women in a fortress. And remember, that's why his aunt Sophia was angry. When I did the story of Sophia last week, Sophia was a warrior. She wanted to fight. She was the sister of Hamza. She was trained. She said, you don't put me in no fortress, Muhammad. I'm a warrior. I want to go out there and fight. The prophet said no. This is when Allah sent down the verses of the Quran giving women the rights. The prophet said no, I want all women and children in the fort. So she went. But when Hassan ibn Thabit, when those Jews tried to climb up the fort, Hassan ibn Thabit wouldn't do nothing. It was Safiya who took her sword and cut off the Jew's head. When that man was coming through the window, she grabbed her sword and cut his head off. And then she took his head and threw it so all the Jews could see it, and that scared them away. Okay, so like I told you, it's all about knowing the history. These women, Arabic women, they were never women that stayed in the house licking pus off of men. They were trained. The women that weren't buried alive were trained to fight. Okay, because they didn't want to become a casualty, a prisoner, a captive of war, to be prostituted. Because what did they do? Now, the woman like Shayma, if they were fighting against a non-Muslim tribe, Shayma would have been killed. She was too old. She was too old to be a slave, too old to be prostituted. No man would have wanted her, so they would have probably killed her. The young girls, they would have prostituted or made them their bed chambermaids. They call them chambermaids. They would have made them their chambermaids. Okay? But Muslims, Islam gave rights. Allah sent down rights for right-hand possessions. Okay? So that's why she wasn't killed or any of that, because the Muslims gave right-hand possession rights. And that's also when the prophet commanded, do not drag the women through the battlefields and let them see their fallen dead. He said, cover the bodies of the deceased. Let people remember them at their best, not at their worst. You don't want anyone to remember you or see you at your worst. That's why I don't know why you Muslims are posting up these dead bodies. It's a sacrilege in Islam. It's totally against the teachings of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If he were living today, he'd be angry. He'd tell you Muslims, what did he tell Bilal? He said, don't you have dignity? He said, where's your dignity, Bilal? Because Bilal was the one that manhandled them and drug them through that stuff. Okay? Where's your dignity? Dignity, you have to learn it. Because again, the Arabs were what you would call barbaric. Before Islam, barbarism. No rules, no laws. Okay? A right-hand possession, as I tried to explain before, is a prisoner, a woman who is taken as a captive of war. Do they exist now? Heck no. And it ain't just any war. It has to be a war against Islam. There will be no right-hand possessions until the Mahdi comes. When the Mahdi comes, he will be the leader of the Muslims. You have to have a caliph over the entire Muslim world. And it has to be a war to establish Islam as the religion of the earth. So no, there are no right-hand possessions now. Okay? But when the Mahdi comes, there will be. Okay? Everybody understand that? There are no slaves now either. You can't take no woman talking about she's your slave either. And I heard about that. It's a big fitting. We got some Muslims here in America calling themselves having a slave girl. Are you out your mind? Boy, we're messed up. Yeah. Yeah, any other questions? Yeah, she could. Yeah, that's all. There's no other hadiths on it. No, that's it.
Okay. There's no other history about his family or what happened to them, his foster
No, that's
family.
it. They became Muslim, and that's the end of it. You know, the prophet didn't die not too long after that. This is right at the end of the prophet's life, y'all. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam died not too long after this. He didn't live much longer. So no, that's it. They became Muslim, and that's it. Went back with their tribe, and that's it. Yeah. Well, there are any man today telling you that he has slaves and right hands possessions is a sicko. I want all of you sisters, especially the polygamies, any man today in 2024 telling you that he has slave girls and he has right hand possessions is a pimp and a sicko. And y'all need to run away from his ignorant behind, because ain't no slaves or no right hand possessions. And don't you call yourself one either. That's a pimp. You're being pimped. Okay? It's called prostitution and pimphood that the Western world is big on. A lot of pimps. You got a pimp. Okay? The class on the book, The Articles of Belief, will begin next weekend. That class will be held on Saturdays and Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please make sure you guys get the book. Go to atleonline.com and order Articles of Belief. I'm going to begin that next Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. Yeah. Everybody understand? Yeah. Any other questions? Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this is like I said, the hadiths is everything. That's the history. It's all about learning them hadiths. Yeah. Yeah, he does it to everybody. That's okay. Yeah, Karima, no problem. Sheikh Atlee, whenever you order a book from Sheikh Atlee, which one did he send you? Because I want to do another class. If I see after, I'll try to pick a class that most of y'all got the books of. Yeah, he always sends an extra book. That's what's so good about Sheikh Atlee.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to email him about my book too, because I ordered it with.
Yeah. Well, you should have got it. Just send him an email, call him yourself. Email him yourself, because everybody else is getting theirs, it seems like. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I taught that one. Prophecies of the Prophet. That's a good one, Karima. I taught that book. I got that on the YouTube channel. That's a good one. I might teach that one again. I probably will teach that one again. So keep that. Keep that book. I'm going to probably go over that one again after I finish termites. I'll probably have that book replace termites. The Prophecies of the Prophet Muhammad. That's going to replace termites. Yeah. Yeah, so anybody who ordered the books from Sheikh Atlee and didn't get it, y'all email him. Send him an email and tell him your name, and he'll send you, he'll check on it. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay, so I'm going to stop right here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Please share my YouTube channel, guys. If you guys like learning Islam in its truthfulness with the understanding of those companions, please support us. Support us by scanning that QR code right there. We need donations to cover our website expenses. Our expenses total $2,000 a month. They really more than $2,000, but $2,000 a month is how much it costs to run this website. It's really $2,500, but we can do $2,000 and I can make up the difference. Okay, but yeah, $2,000 a month, and we are a 501(c)(3). You guys know what that means. That means any donations that you make, you can write them off. This is income tax time of year. So please support us. And also, click share and subscribe to our YouTube channel, guys. Let me make sure y'all like the videos that I put out, and subscribe to our channel. Where's that big thing at? Is that it? Yeah, there it is. Like and subscribe. There it is. There's big boy. Like and subscribe. Okay, guys, I'm gonna close out for right now so I can work on the videos, to put these videos up on YouTube. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu